This is a general overview tutorial of OBS Studio. I've set up title boards for each section, and below in the description you will find timecode and the section to make it easier for you to scrub through and get to what you're looking for sooner. And the best place for us to begin would be the software settings walkthrough. And to get through to settings, you go to File, Settings, and first up is the General tab, which everything is pretty good just with default settings. One thing I would recommend is that check marking automatically record when streaming. That way you know it's going to record what you're streaming, so you can later on edit it if you want to and get clips out of it however you need. Next item down is stream. This is for live streaming, and right now mine's on Facebook Live, but they have YouTube, Restream, Twitter, Periscope, Twitch, and if you don't see what you want here, you can always go down and click on Show All. To get the stream, we're just going to go here. And you can just copy and paste your stream key into the block for the stream key. Next is output. The default settings work really good for me, but they do have an advanced option under output mode, which will give you a bunch of other menus that you can work through. However you need to tailor it, they've got it. And down here under recording, I changed that from the default setting to a folder on my desktop, which is right here. The default record mode is MKV, although you can change that to like .mov, MP4, and about 4 or 5 others. I use the default setting of MKV because it's the perfect file size with the highest quality and doesn't eat up as much hard drive space. And they do have a Remux feature where you can actually put it into that and it'll come out in MP4, so you can run it into your video editing software. Next choice down is audio. If you have a USB interface, you'll want to select that and add that in here. I'm using the onboard chip, and again, default settings work good for me. And you can actually set up some hotkeys down here too. Now the video, I'm on default settings too, which work good and they stream well. Next, you've got hotkeys if you're into hotkeys, and sometimes it does make it easier. You can also set up hotkeys just for each one of your scenes. The advanced tab, I'm using the default settings again. It'll put a time code and stamp at the beginning of a video, but you can change that to however you want to do it, or not have one at all. And that would be our general settings for OBS Studio software. Next up, we have the main window, Studio View. Left side we have the preview. Right side we have the program, which is what you would be streaming. And the left side in the preview, this is where you would do your editing to get your scene set up. And then you would click on transition up here, or click on whatever the quick transition is that you want. We'll go through those in a little bit. And this would be what you would be streaming now. so you can keep an eye on it, and then you can change your elements here. Now the transition, the top transition here is tied with this, the scene transition. So if I do this, you're not going to really notice anything. But if I do a fade to black, this put it all right back together again. You can add your quick transition buttons, and you can also change your timing here. And each button you can actually change itself, and you can change its timing right here. Okay, next up we've got scenes and sources. Scenes are basically like chapters, and your sources are like the content in that chapters, the words in the paragraphs. Okay, now down here on the bottom left, we've got scenes. If you go down to the bottom and click on the plus sign, you can add a scene. You can name your scene whatever you want. I've already created one which already has the display capture in it, so you don't totally lose me. It just works that way, and there's not a whole lot you can do with a scene. If you get them in the wrong order, you can always move them just by hitting the up and down arrow. Highlight it, and we're going to turn this back on. Okay, you can just highlight it, move it up, move it down. You can also drag them. Now, scenes require sources, which is why I already put this one in here. To add a source add a source to the scene, you go to the plus sign. This is the quickest way for the quickest menu. The first one up, we've got audio input capture, and I'm going to use the existing computer microphone, but you can name whatever you want and just click OK. Click on it and then click OK if you're going to use something that already exists. Now I'm going to show you the other menu that it comes with. And audio input capture. Okay, now it's going to give you your properties window. And here's where you would select either your USB audio device or your Realtek. In my case, Realtek. I don't need it, so I'm going to get rid of it. Audio input capture device, remove. Yes. Okay, anything that you do have that's in your sources menu, you can always click properties to get to them faster. And we'll get to filters here in a little bit. But you've got your filter key here. You can also get to it right here in your right-click menu, or you can get to it down here with the little gear. Okay, let's go through each one of the choices here that we can actually add to it. We've got audio output capture. If you're going to play something on your computer and you want it to record it, you can select it right here. And again, we'll go ahead and add one. And then you can select your device. Next up would be the browser. You can select any web page. And you can even select a local file if you really want to. This is just to add an element into your program window. Okay, we'll just keep on going. Okay, color source. This is if you're going to have a multiple backgrounds, like a bunch of still pictures or something like that. Instead of having just the standard black background, you can actually change the color of the background. If you got scrolling text or something, we'll get to that one, but you could also use this as the backup. Display capture, that's exactly what I'm using here. That's what I'm using here for you to see what I'm doing and hopefully kind of get acquainted with it. Let's go down to game capture. This one has a couple different things. If you're into gaming or you just want to show how to do something, it'll collect whatever the active screen is. You got full screen application or a specific window. You can select a specific window and capture foreground window with a hotkey if you need to go back and forth. Underneath all these, you always have a little bit of a menu to actually select anything that would actually suit your needs better. Basically tailoring it. And then let's see. Next one up, we've got image. We can you can name it. Let's say picture. Click OK, and always in every one of these menus you're going to see make source visible. You don't have to if you're just doing it quick, and you're going to come back to it and make it visible, which is right here, the eyeballs. Just click OK, browse, and you can select whatever picture you want. Click OK. Now, since I'm on this one and it's not locked, I can adjust it. I can move it anywhere on the screen I want. And I can resize it. Now you can also add a filter to it. Click on it and then come up here to filter. And you can add a filter. Every one of these has you have the ability to put a filter on it, such as apply LUT, chroma key, color correction, color key, crop, image mask, luma, and so on. But I don't need to actually add anything to that. And we'll just go ahead and make it not visible. And then we'll see where any of the other things are. That would be where it is. Now if I lock it, the little red frame is going to go away. It's preferable to actually lock everything, because if you don't, you can actually kind of mess things up pretty good. I know, I've done it. Okay, moving on, we're going to go and add another source here. We've got image slideshow, which is kind of a cool thing because you can just go and grab, I guess I should have picked the one that I already had made up, but that's okay. We'll actually yeah, on this one you actually have to go down to the bottom to add pictures. And we'll just add 3 files. select them all. And you can actually, different things, you just, again, you can adjust the speeds, and you can change your, we'll just put it on swipe because it looks a little bit more impressive and you can see it. Okay, and again, click on this, and we'll actually take this down, move it up. Okay, that's your image slideshow. Let's go ahead and just make that done. Next up, we're going to add a media file. Hit the plus sign, media source. I'm just going to grab one that I have over in the other tutorial. And we're going to grab number 4. These are all media files. I made them up, all the title boards I made up in my video program. Make source visibles checkmark. Click OK. Now we've got that in there, and you can see how it's playing. Now, like I said, you've always got filters, and if it's got any audio, you can actually run it through a compressor, expander, gain, and one of the above. And again, you have your same for the effects. Remove that. We don't need that now. Next thing would be a scene. You can actually add a scene from here if you need to. Next one down would be text. Text, we'll just use an existing. Go to TT test OBS. Make source visibles checkmark. Now, when you add text, you're going to have to bring it down a little bit. I've already got a filter in it, which is a scrolling filter. And let's go back to the properties of it. If you go down here, scroll down in the menu, you can actually set a background color, which I'm using a little bit light shade of black. You can't tell it on a black background right now, but I'm using light color of black just to make it stand out a little bit. And then the filter, I've got the scrolling filter. Oh yeah, on the scrolling filter, you can set your vertical speed or your horizontal speed by using the sliders. Or again, you can actually just highlight the numbers. Let's give you a little bit better effect here. And we'll make that unvisible. Next, we'll add, let's go to, what is next? VLC. If you have a VLC player, you can actually add a playlist. Next one after that, video capture device. If you're coming off of a camera, a remote camera, Or if your computer has the on-screen camera, you can capture it right here. And window capture is just a snapshot of whatever your active screen might be. And again, you can see the little red box, and you can actually see where the text is. I should lock the text, or otherwise you can actually do something like this. That can happen. So it always pays to lock them up. And that's basically pretty much everything. You can group the items together. You can create a group. I'll show you back over on the other tutorial. I created a titles group, and I created a music group right here. So that way you can close it up. And to run through stuff, basically all it is just an eyeball thing. We're not going to do audio right now. Just put the slideshow in here, and we're going to take the live screen off. Then if I wanted to, I could throw it over here to the program. Once you're set up here, you'll just hit a transition and throw it over. Go ahead and put the live screen back on. Let's go ahead and unlock that. This here. And then when I don't want it visible, it's not here. Transition. And it's not in your program window. Okay, that's it for scenes and sources, properties, and filters. Next up, we'll be moving on to the audio mixer. Okay, the audio mixer, it's fairly basic. It's nothing extreme. Over here, under audio mixer, this would be volume or gain, depending on which one you're using. In this case, it's the gain because it's the microphone. And when you add stuff, okay, we'll click on this, and we'll go to the device properties, and it's got my Realtek high definition. If you want to know what kind of microphone I'm using an Audio Technique. It looks like a little knockoff of a Shure 57. This just comes with an 1/8" plug to go in the back. And okay, let's go to the filters. Like I said, oops, sorry, wrong one. Go back to computer mic. Okay, filters. You can actually change it by using the compressor, the expander, or any of that stuff, none of which I'm using. But you do have properties and options. And let's go to the advanced audio properties. If you left click on the gear, or you can actually right click in front of it and go to the advanced audio properties. You can set the volume or gain depending on what you want. In my case, mine is 13.3, works real good. And in order to monitor it through your headphones, you need to change the menu here. And you can monitor only, mute the output, and monitor and output, which is what I'm using. Now here you've got the number of audio tracks involved in it. You can actually go up to 6. And that's pretty much it for the audio mixer. Rather basic, but it works good. Or it seems to work good. Okay. Scene transitions. Scene transitions. Told you we'd get back to it. Okay. Now on scene transitions, this controls this. So whatever I do up down here, set this for down here, it's going here. And yep, I can see it used for the stinger. Just have to wait for the cat to get done dressing. Okay, there we go. Okay, the scene transitions. This button is controlled by whatever you choose down here. And Stinger was a new one on me. I've never seen that before. I've had to make those up myself. You got Luma Wipe, Swipe, Slides, the Stinger, and you got Fade to Color. When you do use one, when it goes add, you can get to name it if you want. Let's see, we'll just add a fade to color, and see it actually asks you to name that one so you can know the difference. And when you do, okay, Stinger, let's just use that one. Click on the little gear here, and you can actually remove it from the top part of the list, and it goes back, it just stays in the add part of the bottom of the menu. If you click on properties, you get to select a file, and you can actually change the transition points. And if it's got audio in with it, which is kind of cool, so sometimes it's useful. And then you can actually also preview the transition to make sure you got the settings right. Now, whatever you add to the list from down here, it'll actually come out also in this menu up here, so it's a quick transition. So if you got it and you've got this set for a different one, you can actually click on that one particular transition here, like let you slide, and then we'd get the cat if I hit this one right here. That's pretty much all of it in a nutshell, except for right here you can change the duration of the transition, or change the button to a different one. That's scene transitions. Next up, we're going to be moving into, okay, last but not least, in OBS Studio, we have the controls. And let's see, we're going to slide that over. And this is also where it's an easy way to get to your streaming too. Okay, top of the list, we've got Start Streaming. It'll say Stream Key is missing. Open up Settings. Go here. Get your key. Paste it in here. Click Apply. And then click OK. And in a couple, I don't know, maybe about a minute or two for it to buffer up on the server, you will be streaming. Next is recording. So I would have to hit stop recording instead of start recording. Next is start virtual camera. Then we have studio mode, which is what I'm in. And if I take that off, we're in program mode. So whatever you do over here in your sources, as far as making them visible or closing them up, will automatically go straight to your streaming program. Go back to studio mode. And then you have settings, which gives you your main settings again. So just in case if you need a quick shot at changing something, you can do it here. Just always hit apply when you do actually make a change. Then you've got the exit button to close the program out. Do it here or like everybody else. The red X up at the top. Okay, thanks for watching. And y'all have a great day. Don't play too hard. And thanks for stopping by. Last thing on our list is Remux. To take your files and turn them into MP4 files. You go up here to File, Remux setting, recordings, and you can go select them. In this case, I'll do the files that I've been making along the way here. I'll just select them all. And the last one. And in the target file, it's going to be right in my video folder. You can change any of these if you need to. And they will all be MP4 files. Except for the last one, which I'm doing right now. I kind of sort of forgot this part, so I'm going to throw it in at the end. And again, I'm going to say thanks for playing, and y'all have a great day.